Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, President of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, we're going to talk about finding the right care facility. And you may be wondering, why the heck am I talking about that? And why is this important? Well, according to the US Census Bureau, the population aged 65 and older increased from 40.3 million in 2010 to over 54 million in 2019. And according to a report that I read on the Alzheimer's Association website, an estimated 6.2 Americans over the age of 65 are living with Alzheimer's dementia. And since dementia is such a big issue, you may have to find a care facility for someone that you love, a family member, a spouse, a parent. Somebody in your family may need help during that time. And over the past 2 decades, there's been an explosion of supportive housing alternatives, and the options are no longer limited to a choice between staying at home or moving to a nursing home. And the two main alternatives to nursing homes are assisted living facilities and continuing care retirement communities. There's a difference between the two. So I'll talk about the assisted living facilities first. The assisted living facilities are designed to be kind of a middle ground between staying at home and going to a nursing home. The housing is often in a small apartment, and a premium is placed on privacy, individualized care, and independent living. Even with the emphasis on independence, most facilities still do provide 24-hour care to help residents with the activities of daily living. Around the clock medical assistance may also be available. Now, most states are in the process of adding or increasing the regulation and oversight of this growing industry. So if you're looking into these types of facilities, you want to check on your state's policy on a website called Advanced Person Centered Living website. And that website's www.ccal.org. So one of the first things people worry about is, what will it cost? Well, according to a Genworth study in 2020, it was the cost of care survey that they did. The average cost of residency at an assisted living facility in the United States is $4,300 per month. Now, take into consideration if you were going into a nursing home facility that was a semi-private room, the cost per month averaged $7,756 a month. So there's a big difference in the two prices there. And if you're investigating assisted living facilities, be sure to obtain a thorough explanation of each facility's cost structure. It's not unusual for a facility to have an affordable fee for room and board, but that fee may only cover a few hours per week of actual assistance. So if your family member needs additional assistance, there are likely to be additional charges. Also, be sure to ask how the assistance is delivered, by facility staff or contracted help, and find out how much that will cost. Some costs may be reimbursed by a long-term care insurance policy. Now, because assisted living facilities are usually less expensive than nursing homes, many state Medicaid programs now provide some type of funding for elderly residents in assisted facilities who qualify for Medicaid. Now, remember, I said Medicaid, not Medicare. Medicare does not cover the cost of long-term care. Now, the other option is a continuing care retirement community. And we're going to refer to them as CCRCs for while we're talking about them here. And CCRCs combine a variety of residential options under one roof, from independent housing to assisted living to 24-hour nursing services. And residents generally pay an entry fee and an adjustable monthly rent in return for the guarantee of care for the rest of their lives. Now, assisted living and even nursing homes make no such guarantees, and in fact may ask a resident to leave if they believe they cannot provide adequate care. Older people are usually healthy when they enter these continuing care communities. If and when it becomes necessary, they can move into living arrangements that provide the assistance that they need. And nursing care is either located within the CCRC or at a related facility nearby. Now, in addition to the healthcare services, CCRCs also typically provide meals, housekeeping, maintenance, transportation, social activities, and security services. Some CCRCs provide units that are designed for people with special care needs, such as those that someone with Alzheimer's or dementia would require. Is there an entry fee? If you go to mylifesite.net, there is a report called Senior Living Pricing, Snapshot of Average Cost of Senior Living. And what they say is there's generally a one-time entry fee for a CCRC, which can range anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. Pretty significant. In addition, they will have monthly charges anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a month or even more. Now, often seniors use the proceeds from the sale of their home to make the initial investment in the retirement community. Now, bear in mind, however, that the Internal Revenue Service does not allow home sellers to escape capital gain taxes that might be due by rolling those capital gains into the purchase of a CCRC unit. Typically, 90% of the entry fee is returned if the resident moves out of the facility or upon his or her death. Some communities have also begun to make their services available on a purely rental basis. Now, how do you choose a CCRC? It's a once in a lifetime decision. So you want to do a lot of research. You want to consult with an attorney and a financial advisor before signing any kind of contract. Also, to make sure a facility is right for you, ask if you can rent a unit for a few days or a few weeks before committing to it. Here are some questions that you want to ask when investigating these communities. What's the policy on obtaining a refund of the entry fee? Because, like I said, every single one's going to be different. What does the monthly fee cover? Does the monthly fee change when the resident's living arrangements or care needs change? And if so, by how much? Is any of the fee tax deductible as a medical expense? What if spouses require different levels of care? And that's a very important question because I know there's many spouses in this situation right now, and the one spouse is completely fine, but the other spouse definitely needs help with care. Another question, is nursing home care guaranteed? Who pays for health care? Is the community approved for Medicare/Medicaid reimbursement? Who decides when a resident needs more care? And what's the policy on visitors and overnight stays? What are their staffing levels? How financially sound is the CCRC? And what are the grounds for eviction? Very important questions. So also, CCRCs are not for everyone because of their cost, their limited availability, and the fact that most people prefer to stay in their homes as long as possible. When people no longer can live independently, they're generally not a good candidate for CCRCs. In such a situation, finding a long-term care facility for a loved one can be a difficult job. Often, the search takes place under the gun when a hospital or rehab center is threatening discharge or it's no longer possible for the loved one to remain living at home. And in most cases, the task is one you must take without the experience and insight gained from having done it before. That said, there are a few rules of thumb that can help you. The first one is location. No single factor is more important to a resident's quality of life than visits by family members. Make it as easy as possible for your family members and friends to visit. In addition, care is often better if the facility knows that someone nearby cares and is paying attention. You also want to get references. Ask the facility to provide names of family members of residents so you can ask them about the care provided in the facility and the staff's responsiveness when the resident or relatives raise concerns. Check licenses and certifying agency reports. Is there a valid license posted? Is a state inspection report available for your review? You also want to investigate care plans. Now, this may be more for a nursing home. You want to talk to the facility administrator or the nursing staff about how care plans are developed for the residents and how the staff responds to concerns expressed by family members. Obviously, you want to tour the facility. Try not to be too impressed by the fancy lobby or depressed by an older, more rundown facility. What matters most is the quality of care and the interactions between the staff and the residents. Also, ask if you can stay for a meal. This will help gauge the quality of the food service. Eating is both a necessity and a pleasure that endures. So if you're not really happy with the food before you get there, I don't really think it's going to change that much. So that could be part of the decision as well. And with so many care facility options, it is important to investigate each choice thoroughly. Whether you're preparing for the care of a loved one or yourself, getting a complete understanding of the level of care delivered at each facility can save you time and money. A few key points. Assisted living facilities are designed to be a middle ground between staying at home and going to a nursing home. The cost of residency at an assisted living facility reflects the level of care residents need, and costs are highest for residents with dementia who need help with daily living activities and also have a complex schedule of medications. Also, when touring a facility, ask thorough questions so you are made aware of any fees and gain a good understanding of the care provided. I'm going to give you a couple websites to go check out. Also, I mean, I mentioned a few during my talk here where I, pulled some information, but there's a few other websites that I went to as well, and that's aarp.org, leadingage.org, and gemworth.com. All three of those websites are great for information on senior living and senior care. Again, this is Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. Thank you for joining me on our Women in Wealth series. I can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Forge Wealth. On LinkedIn, I'm Regina McCann Hess, and our web address is forgewealth.com. Have a great day.